Well, I think I might just get going. We seem to have 18 or so people on now, and rather than hold people up because it's lunchtime, we'll get going. So let's start. So hi everybody, thanks for joining in today. I'm Danielle King, the CitySwitch Program Manager for the Greater Metro region, and I'll be presenting this seminar today on how to prepare for and complete CitySwitch annual reporting. This session is scheduled to take about an hour. There'll be a few polls as we go through and time for questions during the session and at the end. Feel free also to add questions into the chat box, and either Emma or myself will answer them as we go through. If I do miss anything, please do ask them at the end of the session when we do have a time for questions at the end. The session is also being recorded, and this is so that we can make it available on the CitySwitch YouTube channel afterwards. So anyone who's missed it or wants to review it or revise anything can go back to that if they want to. And at the end of the session, I'll email you the link to the recording and a copy of the spreadsheet templates and the awards documents that we'll be talking about as we go through. So let's get started. So here's what we're covering today. Firstly, we're going to have a quick look at why we need you to complete annual reporting. Then we'll take a look at the three key items, which is energy data, the online survey, and the award applications. Right, so why do we ask you to report on an annual basis? There's a few reasons. Firstly, in return for providing you guys with guidance, help and resources, your organisation had committed to provide certain data on an annual basis so that we can see if the program's actually achieving its goals. Now, those goals are to work with businesses and organisations signed up to the program to help you improve sustainability and energy efficiency of your organisation. And our way of measuring that is through annual reporting, which helps both your organisation and the CitySwitch program. So firstly, for your organisation, reporting provides a way of tracking and measuring your sustainability progress each year. Reporting also helps you to plan, implement, assess, and to refine your approaches. And it shares successes and provides opportunity to learn from others, from hurdles you might encounter along the road, and to achieve good sustainability outcomes and hopefully to become carbon positive. So it also honours the commitment made when you first signed up to the program. Now for us here at CitySwitch, it helps us to justify and maintain funding for the program so that we can continue to help you guys around the country. So it's really important that we get the data. The data is reported, and the data that you guys report is aggregated to provide us with an industry-wide view on what matters to you, and it guides us on resource development. It also tells us how the industry is getting on, what's being worked on, and we can also calculate emission savings for the sector. So for example, in 2019, last year for reporting, our CitySwitch signatories collectively saved around 932,930 tonnes of CO2 emissions, which is just fantastic. So it's important that we can continue to collect the data each year to help maintain funding for the program, and we can continue to provide you with independent advice and free resources. Now let's have a look at the first of the requirements, which is the energy data. In CitySwitch, we use the highly recognised neighbours rating system to monitor energy use for buildings and tenancies. Now, this provides a consistent method for comparison and measurement across the sites which are signed up to the program. The first thing we need on an annual basis is your energy data, and you can actually provide this to us at any time during the year. So as long as we have a recent and a consistent 12 months of data around reporting time, that's fine. So you could provide data in line with your company financial year processes, your calendar year, or any other 12-month period that actually works for you. As long as we have a rating that's valid in September, we can use it. Now, ideally, it would be provided through an accredited neighbours rating. Now, we're aware that that will incur a cost. So for CitySwitch signatories, we've negotiated a 50% discount rate with neighbours so that we can reduce the administration fees for you. You'll need to pay the consultant that does the work though, and costs for that will vary depending on the size of the office, complexity of the site, and other factors. And neighbours ratings, just so you know, are valid for 12 months from the date of issue. So a rating that you did that finished in July last year would still be valid until July the following year. And now if you can't provide an accredited neighbours rating, then we'll need the energy data itself, ideally in a summarised spreadsheet format, but as a last resort, we'll take the bills. And we need the data so that we can calculate the indicative neighbours rating. But first, let's have a quick look at how you go about getting an accredited rating. To get an accredited rating, you'll need the discount voucher, which is emailed out to everyone each year. If you don't happen to have it to hand, just let your program manager know and we'll get a copy to you. You can find the NABERS assessors, accredited assessors who can do NABERS ratings on the list on the NABERS website. And we also have a list of accredited assessors on our CitySwitch website that you can download. You'll need to work with them to provide the energy data and other information required for the rating and the on-site assessment. Now, just one key point though is to make sure you allow time to obtain an accredited rating. When you get the NABERS rating, because they can take several weeks to obtain, by the time you get your energy bills together, get your assessor out there, get it rated, and then get the report lodged. Now, if you don't get accredited NABERS ratings for any reason, and let's face it, for some businesses it's not worth it or they can't be done, then we would need the energy data so that we can calculate an estimated rating. So ideally, you'd summarise your energy bills onto a spreadsheet and send the spreadsheet to us with just one recent energy bill for confirmation purposes. You can use your own spreadsheet summary as well, that's fine, or the CitySwitch template for energy bill data collection, which there's a sample on the screen there. Our template is now on the CitySwitch website. If you go into the annual reporting tab off the main menu, you'll find it. I'll send a copy out to everybody after the presentation today as well. And just so you know, the image to this on the slide here is what the front page looks like. The first section basically covers off your company name and address, and then there are some fields in there that you need to fill in. We need one spreadsheet per office address, and the first page will include company name, site address, and time period of the data collection, so we know what year it's relevant for. There are 3 tabs. First is the instructions and the summary. The second one is the electricity data collection page, and then the third one is the gas data collection page if you have gas. Green sections are to be completed, and the pink sections will calculate from input. You'll also need to know if you're part of a PPA or power purchase agreement, or if you have carbon neutral power, because that will also reduce, or in some cases totally eliminate, your carbon emissions, which is pretty good if you can do that. So just so you know, the data collection page looks like this. Looks a bit complex, I know. But you fill in the green sections with your energy data use off your bills and any green power, and the template will calculate the rest. This particular spreadsheet has got 5 energy counts on it. Most of you will probably have just the one, unless you've got multiple meters in your office for the same space. In that case, you just need to fill out the energy account section 1, and that's all, okay? If for some reason you can't provide us a NABERS rating or a summary spreadsheet, you might be able to obtain the data from an energy portal. This is where you can access your energy data from energy metering portals that either the distributor or the retailer actually have freely available. Now, all distributors in Victoria have an energy portal that you can get free access to for your energy account. You can set it up and simply download your energy data when you want it, or you can provide your program manager with access. The smart meter provides interval metering data to the distributor who provides it to the retailer for billing. Now, some of our signatories have provided permission for us to access their data for them for reporting purposes. If you'd like to organise that with me or your program manager, just let us know. It's a fairly simple process in most cases and depends on the distributor. For example, if you're City Power or Powercore is pretty easy. Gemina and United is not so easy, but it is possible. Distributors are always better because it doesn't tie you into a retailer, and if you change your energy provider, it won't change your portal access. Now, if your local distributor doesn't have this, and I know that being able to access this data in some states is not yet available, ask your retailer if they have anything you can use. Now, I know, for example, that the main retailers like AGL, Origin and Momentum have an online portal that account holders can get free access to. So if you can get onto that, that will probably save you some work in terms of collecting energy data. Once you get access to each access, just bear in mind each portal is different. Some of them you can just put in the dates and it will summarise the monthly use for you and give you a number of kilowatt hours for that period, which is what we need. Others you'll need to download what's called a CSV file, which is like a spreadsheet. It'll be full of data and you can email that through to us. If you're not sure, just ask your program manager or me and we'll be able to take a look for you. Some businesses will pay someone a fee to manage and monitor their energy use for them. If you have a company doing this for you, for example, I know Schneider's do this for one of my signatories, they should be able to provide the energy data that you need for your reporting. So just request them to give you the total kilowatt hours for the past year and confirm any green power. And they should be able to either email that to you, and then you can just forward that onto your program manager. And finally, if none of those methods suit you, or if you don't have time to prepare, as a last resort, you can send us the energy bills themselves. Note that we do need 12 months worth of bills, and we need both sides of the bills, as all the information on kilowatt hour usage is usually on the back pages. And this is the same for gas too. If you have gas on site, we'd need the gas bills as well. If you could save all the bills into a folder and name the folder with your company name, the word bills, and then the year, that would be helpful. Then you can zip that folder and send it to your program manager. It just helps us to keep everything in the one place, and we can work out very quickly what belongs where. Because you'll appreciate we'll be getting quite a lot of these in all around the same time. So once we've received the data in whatever format we get it, we collate it, and then we'll do an indicative or an estimated neighbours rating for you. Now you can do this yourself if you like. If you're really keen, you can collect your data and do your own indicative neighbours rating online. But so you know, this is how we do it. To do the indicative rating or the estimated rating, you'll need the information which is listed on the slide to have that to hand. Then go to the Neighbours website at www.neighbours.gov.au, and from the top menu bar you can select ratings, and under that drop down box is the option estimate your rating. So if you click on that, then the screen on the side comes up and you can start entering your data. There's 3 steps to doing this. Step 1 is the first screen that'll come up, which is entering your basic information. So in that you would choose an energy rating in the first box, then you would select an office for the second box. And then if you're doing just your tenancy, just make a note then if you're doing your tenancy, the whole building or a base building. In most cases, it would be a tenancy rating. And then you can put the building postcode in and select continue. Step 2 is entering the actual rating data, and this is where you'll need the rest of the information. So you'll enter the square metres of your office, the number of hours of standard operation, and how many computers or staff people you have in the office most of the time. Then in the energy use section, you'll be asked to enter kilowatt hours, any green power, any gas. There's also a question there for diesel, but most sites don't have diesel, so just put in 0 when you don't have anything for gas or diesel. Then the next option is the button at the bottom, which says calculate my rating. So step 3 is calculating the rating, and once you hit that button, it will calculate the rating and be displayed on the screen for you. And there'll be a more details button, so you can select more details, and then the detailed data will show up on the screen, including the greenhouse gas emissions. This is the data that you'll need, and you can take a screenshot of it and email that to your program manager with the ratings entered above. Or, as we've mentioned, send us the information and we'll do the indicative rating. Most of the details we already have, such as the square metres of your office, number of employees, etc. We usually just need to get the energy data from you on an annual basis. And to check with you if there's any green power or any other related information, such as if you've gone onto a power purchase agreement, or even if you've gone carbon neutral certification. Now we'll do the calculations, enter the data into your records, and that pretty well covers the energy side until next year. And this data is retained in your records. So if you want to know how you're tracking in terms of energy use for your site, you can log on to the CitySwitch portal and take a look yourself. You'll be able to see past ratings as you scroll down the screen. I'll show you that in a minute. And if you can't see it on the screen, then and if we do have it, then we are very happy to send that back to you if you ever need it for any internal reporting. But it won't be the first time that that's happened. So just in summary, in terms of energy data, we need the energy data annually, and it can be provided in a range of formats and pretty much any time of the year. Neighbours ratings are preferred, and we offer a 50% discount off the Neighbours administration fees for those doing accredited ratings, so make sure you get that discount voucher. We have a spreadsheet template you can use if you want to, or you can set up your own, and you can send that to us annually as well. Alternatively, data can be obtained from a distributor or the retailer portals, or from your energy manager if you have one. Or finally, you can calculate your own estimated rating if you want from the neighbours website and send us that. Otherwise, send us the bills and we will get on with it and do that for you. And don't forget to let us know if you have any green power or carbon neutral or on a PPA. So before we move on to the actual logging in and doing the online part of it, is there any questions on energy data requirements before we move on to that?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, if we're all working from home at the moment, then our energy use is going to be a lot less.
Yes.
Are we accounting for that, or are we just...
Oh, that's the $1,000,000 question that we've been trying to discuss with neighbours for about 4 months now. Look, we haven't had a definitive answer from the neighbours team on that yet. So we're going to basically calculate the ratings as we would normally. But in the online survey, there are some questions on occupancy in the office. That's the COVID questions, which we'll talk about in a minute. And once we get a definitive response from neighbours and we know how they want us to handle it, then we'll make those adjustments, because we'll collect the data now. And then if we need to make adjustments, we'll do that afterwards. It's, it's definitely going to have some impact, I would think. I'd be very surprised if it doesn't. It'd be interesting to see what the blip is, but also it's going to give a bit of some erroneous results. Thanks, Connie. Did anyone else have any other questions? Emma, are there any in the chat? I can see there's a few there.
Yes, so we've just had a couple of questions around the energy spreadsheet and what to do if you've got multiple tenancies reporting through the one portal. And I've just said that we can send a spreadsheet that allows for multiple tenancies as well.
Great.
But also if you've got that in another format already, you might already collect your energy data in one place. That's perfectly okay too. Our template's there if you don't already have a place to collect that information. But if you've got something of your own that's suitable, that's perfectly fine with us.
Yeah, that's a good point. One of the things we don't want to have to do is we don't want people to have to do the job twice. So if you're collecting energy data for any other reason at any point during the year, as long as it gives us the total kilowatt hours for that site, we're happy to take it from any other sort of reporting source that you use, just to try and reduce the load, because we know it can be a bit of a pain. But getting this data actually helps us quantify how much energy savings have been made over the year and how much greenhouse gas emissions have been saved. So, and that all contributes to us substantiating the program. Right.
So Danielle, does that mean that you're now going to address number of computers and number of people in the office?
Yes, there's some questions. Yeah, look, when we do the neighbours rating, whether they're accredited or indicative, we need to know how many people are in the office or how many computers, one or the other, and then the square meterage, the office hours, etc., and then the energy use, and that's calculated. But because of COVID, we know that there's been quite a substantial change in the way that people are using their offices, as in they're probably not, or there's only a small number of people going into the offices now, and we know that that's going to impact the neighbours ratings or even the indicative neighbours ratings that we're doing. So we're just waiting. We're going to collect what data we can now, so we don't have to ask people for it again later, just in terms of how many people are going to the office. But we expect there to be a difference. We expect that most people will actually reduce their energy use as a result of COVID, because they're not going in and there's not so much going on in the office. So things should be off, and therefore energy use should reduce.
And I'll just add there as well, with neighbours, so it operates over a 12-month period, so we know that the start of that period this year looks very different to what it's looked like for the second half of the year. So we'd like to know what your typical computer or people count in the office is, and then also what it's been over the last, well, since March really, for your offices as well, so that we can compile both of those pieces of information to get an accurate picture of what your energy looks like.
So your survey questions online have accommodated both of those scenarios?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Well, we'll get on to those because we'll be coming up to those survey questions in a few minutes. All right. So let's move on then. Right. The online survey is actually done by logging into the CitySwitch portal. You actually have access to the portal and your data all year round, and you can use it to check on the details and the data that we have on file for you and your business pretty well at any time if you want. The annual reporting tab is only available when annual reporting is open, which is usually from the 1st of September until the closing date. Now, before you start reporting, it's good to check that you have all the data you need to hand. You'll need to know what your organisation has been doing in terms of sustainability for the last year, have the energy data, unless you've already sent it in, and know if you're going to be applying for an award or not. Anyway, to get online, get to the CitySwitch homepage, which is at cityswitch.net.au, and the link is at the top right-hand side of the screen. If you're in there and you see only the little menu dashes, just expand the screen wider and it will automatically come up then. And then you click on log in, and it will take you to this screen. Now, you'll need to be set up on our system to log in, and most of you would be or should be. If you're not, let your program manager know and we'll fix that quickly. And use your email address to log in and then enter a password. Now, when you were first set up, you would have been sent this very random password, and which is not memorable at all. And knowing that just about everybody has problems logging in every year because they do it once a year and they forget their password, you might find it easier, rather than try to log in first, go straight into forgotten password, click on that, get a new one generated and sent to your email, and then you can go through and log in much easier then. As I said, passwords are usually a really random string of letters and numbers, so it does work best if you cut and paste it into the field rather than trying to retype it. Otherwise, once you get in, reset it to something that you'll remember. But it's just a bit of a tip. We've just found it easier. Some people find it easier to just reset it every year and go from there. And then you'll get into your records. Now, once you've logged in, you'll be into the Manage My Info section. Along the bottom of the banner, the CitySwitch banner, in that black strip there is the menu bar, and that contains the Managing Your Info, the Annual Progress Report, and the Change Password tabs. Above that, there's the Logout button. Below that is the first section, which is the Manage My Info, and this is where you'll see what information we have about your organisation, such as the date you joined. And if you scroll down, you'll see the organisation commitment statements from when you signed up, targets and commitments that were set with you at some point in the past, contact details, and further down are neighbours ratings and energy data and business directory details that we have on file for you. Now, as I said, you can log into this anytime and update your records. It's worth logging in and checking occasionally to ensure we have the same contacts and so on. But to get to the annual reporting survey, you click on the annual reporting survey, annual progress report tab, where the orange arrow is. And this option will only be visible while annual reporting is open. So from the 1st of September to probably early to mid-October. So that will take you to this screen here. I've got a live thing I can log in and show you once we've gone through the slides. So when you go through the annual progress reporting, it's the first page you'll see. There's 3 online pages to reporting. It should only take about 15 minutes unless you've got things to add into the award submission section that aren't quite ready to go. Now you can enter the data, save it and return later while reporting is open. And it's important that you make sure that you submit it when you're finished, otherwise we don't recognise it as being done. The first page will ask about projects undertaken or that are under consideration, your corporate strategy, and this is where we have some of the COVID impact questions this year. The second page will ask for your feedback on the CitySwitch program and how we can improve it. And the third and last page is for award applications or any success stories that you'd like to share. So you can start reporting and save and return to it later if you need. Just be sure that you hit save at the end of each page before you go. And scrolling down the page, the first page will get you to these questions here. This is just an example. So this is the sustainability project section. So this is the first part of it and this is just an example of the questions here. So you literally just scroll through the page, check the relevant boxes that fit your answers, and then move on to the next question. So it's very much checkboxy. If the responses don't fit your situation, then you can leave it blank and move to the next question and then keep going. And then until you get to the next section. And the next section is about corporate strategy. So again, just check the relevant box to answer your question and move on to the next one. Again, if the responses don't fit, leave it blank and move on. I will go through a live copy of this shortly. You'll get down to the achievement section, and this is a bit that sometimes is a bit of a hiccup for some people. Don't get too caught up on it. This is if we have a current neighbours rating for your energy data, or if we have your energy data, then you can actually skip this section because we've already got it. Okay, so just complete it as best possible. As you scroll down, you'll find questions on purchasing carbon offsets for the year. and any renewable energy or carbon neutral certification, please tick those off if you can. But if we've already got your energy data, you can actually skip that section. And the bottom section, which is new this year, asks 3 COVID questions, and this is what you'll see. So we're asking if you can include the FTE or employee numbers or a percentage if worst case scenario. That will help us identify the actual impact of COVID on your office tenancies as a result. So once you've answered those questions, the first one is, what was your tenancy occupancy pre-COVID? Basically just in numbers of staff. What was your occupancy tenancy during COVID? So that was post-March. Did you only have 10%, 10 in the office or none in the office? And what's your expected occupancy over the next 12 months? So they're just the questions that we're asking there. And at the bottom of each page, you'll see these pink buttons for save and return, next, or print. So to continue to the next online page, you just click next, which should save your responses and take you to the next page. If you hit save and return, it will save your data, and it will actually log you out and return you to the CitySwitch login screen. So that basically allows you to save your data, and then you can come back to it later if you run out of time or if you want to go and check some information offline. Now, page 2 is shorter and asks you just for your thoughts on the CitySwitch program. So this is just a sample of that. So you'll be asked which statement fits you best, are you satisfied with the program, etc. Answer those as best you can, and there's a section at the bottom which asks about anything that we can do to improve the program. So when you get to the bottom of the page, you'll see again the pink buttons. So if you hit next to save and go to the next page, or back to go to the previous page, or print if you want to print what you've done so far, or again you can hit the save and return button. Remember, that will save your data and log you out, and that allows you to return back again later if you want to. Now, page 3, this is the award submission page, and this is where you can upload your awards applications and share any success stories. Now, if you're not applying for an award in this year, you can actually skip the awards section because award applications are not required to complete annual reporting. If you are applying, you'll need to have completed the award application form or the relevant award application form and upload it in this section. If it's not ready to be uploaded, you can complete the survey up to this point and then save it. And then when you're ready to upload your documents, come back to it. Now, a copy of the award applications is available from your program manager. You can download it from the website, and I'll also send a copy out with the documents from this presentation today. There are 2 types of award applications. There's the project award and the partnership awards. And there's also 2 categories, which is the over 2,000 square metres and the under 2,000 square metres of office space categories. And you can upload more than one project or partnership project for each award application or each year. There is a section after award submission that allows you to nominate someone for the CitySwitch Hall of Fame. Anyone can nominate someone in their organisation. You'll need to input their name, their position, contact details, and a description of why you think they've demonstrated champion qualities and should be recognised. Now, we only allow three of these per state per year. So make sure if you're putting someone up that you do justify why you've got them in there, because if there's more than 3, those with the most merit will actually be awarded. After that is a section for success stories. Now, success stories are just basically short and sweet stories that you might want to tell us. So we only need a few summary notes on what was done and what was achieved. We really love hearing about what everybody's been doing, so do include them if you can. It's also good to provide some additional information. So you can add more than one success story by clicking on the Add Another Project button, which is just underneath this page here. Now, that's the last of the data input for annual reporting. When you get to the end of page 3, whether you're submitting an award or not, you'll need to submit your report. Now, as I mentioned, our system doesn't recognise the data as being finalised until that submit button has been selected. But can I recommend first that you print to a PDF and save your application first so that you've got a copy of what you've entered. Your program manager can always print it for you afterwards if needed, but it's often quicker and easier for you to do it at this point. And then you can save it somewhere. Next year when you're reporting, you might find it useful to go back to see what you did last year. And once you've got a copy of that finalised, you'll need to submit the report. So to do that, just make sure you click the submit button here. And clicking the submit button finalises the report and tells us that you're finished. It will also stop you getting the reminder emails that automatically come out. Okay, so it'll help with your email box reducing. Now, look, I know I've only touched briefly on the awards application here, but the key points for awards are that applications are open for input from the 1st of September, but you can actually start preparing your application any time earlier than that. You don't have to wait till reporting time to do that. They are a part of annual reporting processes, so will need to be uploaded by the closing date, but you don't have to apply for an award to complete reporting. If you've already submitted your annual report and missed uploading your application, just let your program manager know and we can help to get it submitted. Or we can also help you with preparing the application itself as well. Now, as a reminder, the award categories cover projects, partnerships. You can nominate a CitySwitch champion, and we also like to hear about success stories. There's also a new signatory award, and there might be a new award coming out later in this reporting period once we get some guidance from our senior management. Emma, did you want to say anything about the awards, any additional categories at this point?
No, I think you've covered it quite well, only that we are considering adding a category for sort of like a COVID response, just to showcase the leadership in that area, but we will give you more information on that as it becomes available.
So that's pretty well it. So if you're putting for a project award, you'll need to have, that's one main point. Normally, if you're putting in for a project award, you'll need to have an accredited neighbours rating. We may or may not be waiving that this year. We're just waiting on some guidance on how we're going to work that, given that we know that the neighbours report's going to be a little bit out as a result of COVID. So that's pretty well it for annual reporting until next year. I will just I want to see if I can screen share my other screen. So just bear with me for a minute. Can you see the CitySwitch thing there now? Oh, you can, right. Okay, so I wasn't sure if I could have the slide in the background and the CitySwitch reporting portal open at the same time. Right, good. So looking at this, so you have when you're going into the Manage My Info, this is I'll just scroll down here. This just shows you what it is. Is one of my, in fact, it's one company that I'm involved with, so I don't mind showing you. This is shows you what's in there, so you get your neighbours portal. If you've got stuff in the business directory, that will show up as well. For annual reporting, click on the button up there. So the annual reporting portal comes up like this. Can everybody see this okay, the screen as I scroll down?
Yeah.
Great, good. So you'll have your sustainability projects first. So they're just checkboxes. So just tick on as you go. Are you interested in it? Have you undertaken it this year? There's a few of them. So just scroll down, ask about green leases and indoor air environment and so on, or anything else that we've missed. Then the corporate strategy section is the next one down. So which option best describes your sustainability commitments? Do you have a plan? Is it in development and so on? And what your corporate policies are, which is this section here. Then the achievements this year, this is a section I said if we've already got your energy data, you can just skip over this first section here, which asks for energy savings or dollar savings, because if we've got your energy data, we can calculate that. We don't need it. But it would be good if we could have this section here. So did you purchase any offsets from here down? If you could fill those in, that would be great. Again, they're just check boxes. And scrolling down, we have the COVID questions here. So what was your tenancy occupancy pre-COVID, during COVID, and after COVID? And then if you just go next, that brings up the questions for the program support and how you found that. So where's your organisation? Do you think you've achieved your goals? And again, they just drop down boxes. Are you satisfied with CitySwitch and your program manager, the CitySwitch website? There's a whole lot of just options that you just drop down and select as you go. If you've got any comments on anything, like any comments on the resources that we offer, please put them in. We really value any feedback that we get from anybody, just so that we can work out how to make the resources better and more useful for people. This one here is about what resources would be most helpful for you in the coming year. And this last box here is what can we do better as a program. So anything that you've got an idea on and how we might be able to improve would be great. Now, the last screen, this is the awards screen. So this is the one that you can skip if you're not going to put in for an award, but you do still need to go to the bottom and hit submit if you're going to finalise your report. So this is for your projects. You can put one project in and upload it through the upload buttons here. You can put more than one project in. There's project 2 documentation, project 3 documentation, and so on. There's a partnership project title here if you're going to do partnership projects. This section down here is for the sustainability champion. If you know someone who deserves recognition for their sustainability, then do nominate them, because sometimes we know it's the individuals that push things through. We've got success stories in this next bit here. And if you want to add another one, then you just click on this add another project button down there and then submit your report. I'm not going to do this right now, but you can hit submit there. But do remember, if you can, to do the print first, because that'll give you a PDF version of it. And once you've submitted, it should log you out. Right, so that pretty well covers the... So finally, I guess, do we have any questions? No? Oh, when's the deadline? That's a good question. I think this time we're aiming for the end of September. Emma, do we have a confirmed deadline date yet?
Yes, so the 2nd of October will be our deadline this year.
Right, okay.
And you'll be getting, just to add as well, you'll be getting email notifications being sent out to you from next week with links to how to get to the platform and some information, and also with reminders of the deadlines as you get closer to the date.
Yeah. And don't forget, if anyone's got any questions or if you get stuck, you know, your program manager is there to help you. So just make sure you reach out and ask them any questions, or if you want any guidance on awards applications. The awards are going to be interesting this year. I think we're going to have to do an online event, which we're currently working out. But once we get that sorted out, we'll let you all know. But apart from that, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the impact of COVID has been on the energy data, etc. this year. And it would be really good to be able to run some numbers once we've got that information on, you know, the impact of number of people in the offices and so on. So do let us know that. Well, if there's no other questions, we'll finish off. If anyone would like to contact us afterwards, feel free to contact me or your local program manager. As I said, I'll send out links to the recording and also a copy of the documents we mentioned, like the templates for the spreadsheet, the data collection spreadsheet, and the awards with this. Feel free to share them with anyone in your organisation who might be involved in reporting. And I think that's about it. Thanks very much, everybody. Bye for now, and look forward to seeing all the reports coming soon. Thanks. Bye.